Hi, I'm Dr. Kevin Miller, Superintendent of Licking Heights Schools.
And I'm Todd Griffith, the Treasurer here. We're continuing our discussion on Ohio's biennium budget bill and how it impacts Licking Heights schools.
Today, we're going to talk about income tax cuts in Ohio's new state budget, House Bill 96, and what it means for Licking Heights. Income taxes are the state's biggest source of funding for public services in the state. Your income taxes support preschools, K through 12 schools, higher education, healthcare, children and family services, libraries, roads and bridges, local governments, townships and municipalities, and a whole lot of other things. The budget bill that was passed back in 2023, House Bill 33, included a reduction in income taxes. What that budget bill did was take 4 tax brackets and compress them into just 2 tax brackets. High-income households received most of the tax savings. As a matter of fact, an analysis by Advocates for Ohio's Future shows that over 50% of the total tax cut value went to the wealthiest 20% of Ohio households, or those making about $124,000 and above. By contrast, the bottom 60% of wage earners received only about 5% of the tax cut's value. That amounted to about a tank of gas for the average Ohioan. In effect, the wealthiest Ohioans enjoyed significantly larger reductions in tax liability, while House Bill 33's reductions delivered pretty negligible benefits to low-wage earners. And also, what it did was incredibly impact Ohio's revenues.
Yep. According to Policy Matters Ohio, House Bill 33 income tax reductions resulted in an immediate loss of almost $1.3 billion in income tax collections in the first year. Obviously, that income tax reduction continues to impact Ohio's revenue stream.
So what lawmakers did was put another income tax reduction in the current budget bill, House Bill 96. They moved Ohio to a flat tax rate of 2.75% that will start in 2026. Because most taxpayers are already at that tax rate, moving to a flat tax means that only people making over $100,000 a year will see any reduction in their income tax payments. Policy Matters Ohio calls the flat tax income tax reduction, a $1 billion handout to people with 6-figure incomes. Estimates from both the Legislative Service Commission, which provides information to our legislators, and the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy place the cost of moving to a 2.75% flat tax of $1.1 billion a year. So think about that. Putting together the income tax reductions from 2023 and the move to the flat tax in the 2025 budget bill, Ohio is losing over $2 billion in revenue annually.
Yeah.
Here's why that matters to us.
First, legislators told public schools in Ohio, including Licking Heights, they did not have the means to fully fund the Fair School Funding Plan, which is designed to give schools like ours the resources we need. Remember, we discussed a few weeks ago how base cost inputs, the cost of running a school on a daily basis, were frozen at 2022 levels.
And second, instead of investing in Ohio's public schools, which serve nearly 90% of Ohio's students, the state is shrinking the pot of money available. Remember that by the end of this 2-year budget, the state's share of funding public schools in Ohio will be at an historic low of 32%. And third, Ohioans are asking for property tax relief, right? But income tax cuts that mostly benefit the wealthy are draining state funds, which could lead to property owners sharing an even greater burden to fund their local schools. So when the state underfunds education, it doesn't just hurt our students, it hurts the long-term health of our communities and ultimately our state.
What Ohioans have been asking for is property tax relief. What the state has delivered is income tax relief that benefits high wage earners. Instead of helping with rising property taxes, recent income tax cuts for the wealthy have made it harder for the state to provide relief, leaving homeowners under greater pressure.
At Licking Heights, we will continue to advocate for fair and sustainable school funding. Every child deserves the resources they need to succeed, and every community deserves a fair balance between their obligation to fund their local schools and the state's obligation to fund their local schools, right? We'll continue to keep you updated as these issues move forward. Thank you. Thank you for staying engaged, because together we can make sure our students, our families, and our community thrive. That's a wrap.
That was tough.
Yeah, it was.